Yes.
Not null. Primary key. Unique. Foreign key.
Yes.
And others.
Any other person?
Primary key and the default.
Default. Any other person? Yes. I think we talked about also how to use check. We said that the basic example was we can use check in cases where like you have any attribute or a column where you want people to enter value of a particular range. For example, the salary or the age of a person. We all know that someone's age cannot be more than 200. So you can decide to take that one using the check constraint. Then we went ahead, we looked at how do you insert data in database, in the tables. How do you insert a single record? How do you insert multiple records? Then what else? How do you update data? How do you delete the data, a single data? How do you delete all the data in the database? We looked at how do you change the data type? How do you add a new column? How do you rename a column? We all covered all those ones. Now, today, basically, what we are going to do is we are going to look at how to use the select. Select command, you find it under the data query language. So we're going to look at how do you retrieve the data by using the select, by using the where clause, order by, group by, having. Then from there, we shall also look at using aliases, the AKAs. How do you use them? So that is basically what we're going to do. Just like the other time, we are still going to start by, we shall look the theory. Then from the theory, we shall also go practical and test each of the commands that we have. One thing that I forgot is the other time is also we looked at how do you view the details of all the columns that you have created in the table by using the desk command. Desk, and then the table name where it displays for you each of the fields, their data types, and the constraints. So we say that SQL select statement, we use it if you want to retrieve a record or records from the table. The SQL select statement is used to select or retrieve data from the database table. The syntax of SQL select statement is you type the keyword select, then you list all the columns that you want the MySQL engine to display for you from that particular table. So in this statement, you can see that column 1, column 2 are the table columns, and then table name is the name of the table from where you are going to select the data from. For example, we had created a database somewhere called Biashara with its own what? With the 3 different tables. Somewhere, I think we deleted it. We removed the relationship and so on. So when we shall come to practicals, the first thing I'm going to do is to ensure that that relationship comes back. We're going to create it. Then we shall enter some records. Maybe for each table, we can decide to enter 5 records so that we can be able to manipulate with it to practice the rest of the commands. Note that SQL is not case sensitive. We all know that. You can decide to type in uppercase or lowercase, or you mix. Still, it will retrieve for you. The command will work. Select is the same as to select something. For example, we can decide to say select first name, last name from a table called customers, which means that it will go to the table, it will display for you the first name of all the records and the last name. That is it, because you have only specified there 2 columns. Then, assuming that we have this particular table, We have this table called customers, where you have the customer ID, the first name, the last name, the age, and the country. Once you type the select statement that select the first name, the last name from table called customers, then it will only display for you all the records in the first column and all the records in the last column. Then we also have what you call select all statement, the asterisk. You call it asterisk, right? Asterisk or something like that. That's star multiplication. You use it if you want to select all the columns and all the rows in the table. So to select all the columns from the database table, we use the asterisk character. For example, select star from customers, which means that it will go into the database and look for that particular table in the database, and then select for you all the customers, all the columns in the customers table and all the rows, and it will display for you the result. Then from there, we have the where clause. This is where now, like if you want to filter the data from the tables, you want to pick on a particular records from the tables. That's where you're going to use the where clause. A select statement can have any optional where clause. The where clause allows us to fetch records from the database table that matches the specified conditions. For example, select all the columns and rows from customers where the last name is equal to Doe. So using this example here, the condition is where the last name is Doe. It will select for you all the columns. The columns we have here, it will select for you customer ID, first name, last name, age, and country. Then, but it will now, the where clause is where you put the condition. We say that let the last name be Doe. So how many people in those tables have their last name Doe? You can see we have John and Betty, which means that it will display all those columns, but it will only pick the records of John Doe and Betty Doe, because the where clause states that you only pick those records where their last name is Doe. Then we can see that from this example you have that. Then we have this is still more example. You can hear that select age, country from customers where the country is USA. Here, like you're trying to filter records based on the country where the customers come from. You only want the list, the age and the country of all the customers who belong to USA. So it will go into the table and get for you the column age and all the column country. But it will only filter those records where their country of origin is USA. We know that we only have the first two, that is John Doe and Robert Luna. They are from USA. So it will pick for you the age of John Doe and the age of Robert Luna, which is 22, and also their countries, and it displays for you that one. Then we can also use the where clause with the update statement to edit the existing rows in the database table. Note, in SQL, we must enclose textual data. I think we talked about that one when we were inserting data this week, where I say that all the strings, you put them in single quotes. But if you have integers, numbers, and the rest, you don't put them in single quotes. The select statement uses the following parameters. You can see that with the select statement, you can also use other parameters like the where, and you can use the first name, last name, or all. That is to filter the columns. Then the name of the table where you're going to filter from. Then you use the where clause, only retrieve records that you want. Then you can decide to group the records by using the group by command. It is optional, it collects data from multiple records and group them by one or more columns. You can decide to say that select all the columns and all the rows from the table, but you group by the gender, which means that it will first of all go and select all, maybe between male and female. Which one comes first? I think female. It will pick all the female customers and group them first, and then it will go and pick all the male and then it will also group in. Then we have also what you call halving. Halving, it is an optional, but it works when you're dealing with group by. You can use it also to check some conditions. Assuming that you want to select all the fields, all the columns from the table called customers, and you want to group by gender, then where their age is based on some particular thing. Maybe you only want it to group for you all the customers whose age is greater than or equals to 30 years, which means that it will go to the table and only pick all those customers, whether you're a male or female, and it will first of all group you as a male and female, and then it will come and check whether you are greater than or equals to 30. Then we also have what we call order by.
Lectures.
Yes? It is optional. It is used for sorting records in the results. You can say to order the records based on a particular one. Maybe you can order by first name, which means that it can go to the table. You said maybe select all from customers, then order by.
Is that one you define it properly?
So if you go into the table,
Print and take to a bundle.
it will pick for you what? All the customers whose names are, maybe their first names are belong to a particular character. Then we have offset. It specifies which row returns first by default. You can see that you can decide to say that you want to select all the records from the table, but you want to only limit some specific records. Maybe you want the SQL to go to the database and only extract for you the first, maybe only 5 records, but it should extract those ones from a particular, should start extracting that one from a particular row. That's where you can use the limit and the offset. We shall see the examples where you apply these ones. For example, we have the order by. Order by. Excuse me, you can decide to use the order by. The order by clause in SQL is used to sort the results, set either in ascending order or descending order. By default, the records are ordered in ascending order. Then you can see later how do you use order by. You can order by a single column, or you can order by the multiple columns. The syntax is select columns. You list the columns that you want it to appear from the table name, then you order by, which means if you order by gender, it will first of all sort by gender. Then after finishing with gender, and then it will look for maybe first name, and then it will also sort what is in gender in according to what you have specified there. Here the column 1, column 2 are the columns to be included in the results. Then we have table name. A table name is the name of table, column A, and so are the columns based on which the rows will be ordered. For example, select all from customers, then order by country, which means that it will select for you all the columns in that table called customers, and then it will begin to sort people according to their country. Assuming that you have 1,000 records, there are people from those countries that begins with maybe Algeria, Armenia, and so on. Then it will go to Bulgaria, Burundi, then after that Canada, China, Chad, then maybe Denmark, and so on. Then it will begin to sort them based on those alphabetical order. Or you can decide to say that let it sort it in the ascending. Then it will begin with those ones starting from Z, then it goes up to N. You can see a simple example here that select all the columns and rows from the table called customers, and then order by first name. You can see here that the customer ID, you see that the customer ID is now not arranged in what? Systematically. Because the sorting is based on the first name. If you see these names here, the first name we have John, Robert, David, John, Betty. In alphabetical order, which one comes first? It is Betty. Then after B, it is David. Then after D is, I think it's J. Yes. Then after the J's, then it will go to the Robert. That's why you'll find that it has displayed this. Now you'll see that the first names, we have two John, John Doe and John Reinhardt. Between John Doe and John Reinhardt, which one comes first? It is automatically John Doe. D comes before R. That's why you see it displayed that way. Then that is what you call the order by. Order by in ascending order. Or we can also use the ASC keyword to explicitly sort selected records in ascending order. Maybe for select all from customers, then order by age in ascending order, ASC. By default, it is ascending in alphabetical order, in ascending order. Then, order by in the ascending order, that is the desk. We use that command desk also to see the details in tables that we have created. Like the other time I said that you also use desk if you want to sort in the ascending order. We can also use the desk keyword to sort the selected records in the ascending order. For example, select all from customers, order by J, by age in the ascending order. Assuming that you come from here, from this table, we want to select all the rows and columns from the table called customers, but you want to order by age in the ascending order. Now, descending order means that you begin with the person who is older among the customers. You'll find that if you look at their ages here, you'll find that the 31 will come first, then followed by 28, 25, then 22, 22. Let us go and see the result. You'll find that which one comes? 31, 28, 25, 22, and 22. Now someone will ask me, between these two, why is Ara coming before David? Is it clear? I don't know which criteria they used, the engine is using, but I think just because it is being ordered in ascending order, even if there were many, it will just pick those with the same age and put them. Then we have order by with multiple columns. Maybe assuming that you want to say that maybe select all the rows and columns from the table called customers, then order first by age, then after that you order by first name, then after that you order by maybe another field. So we can also use that. We can also use order by with the multiple columns. For example, select all from customers, order by the first name and the age. Here, if you go to the example, what happens is it will display for you all the columns: customer ID, first name, last name, and age. Since we have decided to order first by the first name, then it will go and look for first name. Our first name here, we said Betty comes first. After Betty, we have David, then we have John and Ro. Then after sorting like that, then it will go to the age. Among these ones, you will find that Betty is 28. It will come first. David is 22, and then will come, and then John, and so on. Which means that the most important thing here is it first of all looks at the first criteria. Then assuming that if we had John Reinhardt and John Doe at the same time, then that is why you see that it will now go to the second condition of ordering based on Jane. On what age? That's why you'll find that John Reinhardt 25 comes before the 31. Is it clear? Then after that, then we have what we call group by. We looked at order by single column, then by multiple column, using ascending order and descending order. Then the second one is group by. In SQL, the group by clause is used to group rows by one or more columns. The syntax for the SQL group by clause is you type the keyword select and the columns that you want to appear on the table from the table name, then you can begin to group by one. I want to group by this particular column, then followed by this one. So here, column 1, column 2 are the columns of the table. Table name is the name of the table for where the rows are selected. Then column A and column B are the columns based on which the rows will be grouped. For example, the simplest example here is Let me see if there's another example. No, it's just the same example. Now, what they are using here is they want only one column called the country. And then what they're doing is they say they select one column called country, and then they are using inbuilt functions within the MySQL called the count. The count, what will happen is it will count the number of countries from where each of the customers come from. You realize that from this example, there are some customers that belong to a particular country. You'll find that John and Robert, they're from USA. Then we have David and John are from UK and then UAE. Then what happens here is it will only pick for you this country. Then after picking the country, then it will group them. It will say that there are two records there are two customers who belong to USA, and then two customers from UK, and then the one customer from UAE. Because we have decided to use the count function to count. That's why he said that it will display for you a column called country, and then it will display for you another column that we have created called numbers. That's why we have decided to use this as. The as alias is, which means that if you don't put as numbers, it will display the title of that column as count in brackets all. From this, then it will group it by the country. For example, you can see here we have the country, and then the number. How many customers are from UAE? There was one. Then how many are from UK? There were two, and one from there were also two from USA. Because we are saying they were telling MySQL engine that let it group by country. And then our countries here are USA, UK, and UAE. Among these three, which one comes first in alphabetical order? After first eliminate U, then we have AKS, which means UAE comes first, then followed by UK, then it ends with US. That's why it begins by counting how many customers are from UAE. That's why you find it up there. We have one customer from UAE. Then UK, we have two customers from UAE. Then we have also two from USA. Is it clear up to that level? To talk about these functions, we shall handle it next week. Is there any question up to this level?
It's clear.
Then we have having clause. We say that you use having clause together with the group by. You don't use it with order by. So the SQL having clause is used if we need to filter the results set based on some aggregate functions, such as the mean function, the maximum function, the sum, the average, and the count. Those are some of the inbuilt functions that the SQL comes with. They help you to compute for you the minimum, the maximum, the sum, which means the total, the average, and counting for you the records. The syntax of SQL having is you can put select, then you put the aggregate function, then the column, then you can add extra columns from the table, maybe customers, then you group by a particular column, then having, you state the condition. For example, we have here, we are saying that select, then let it count for us how many customers are there. You are counting the IDs of the customers. You realize that from here, we have how many IDs? We have how many customers? 5 customers. So this command, what it does is it will count for you how many customers there are. It will display for you count, then this, then the country from found customers, then it will group it according to alphabetical orders. Then having the country greater than 1, which means that it will only display for you those countries where there are more than 1 customers. Assuming like a country called UAE, you see that it has only 1 customer, which means that it is not going to display the record for that particular customer. Instead, it will display USA because USA has 2 customers and UK has 2 customers. That's why you have decided to use this function called count customers, which is greater than 1. Then you can see from here, what happens here is it will display for you count customer heading, where there are 2 customers belonging to UK and 2 customers from USA. Then the having clause there, the work was only to eliminate those customers that belong to countries, like those countries that have only one particular customer. Then we can also go ahead. We can also go ahead and say, look at some examples. Now, here they're trying to show out what is the difference between halving and where clause. They say that the halving clause checks the conditions on the group of the rows, while the where clause checks the condition on each of the individuals. Then we have also, halving is used with aggregate functions. That is it. Maybe you want to check the mean, the maximum, the count, the whatever sum, average, they use halving. But where clause can not be used with aggregate function. Then the halving clause is executed after the group by clause. We only use it after you have used group by clause. But the where clause is executed before the group by. So we can go and start doing the practicals before us moving to look at some of these things. Let us first of all handle these ones before we do them practically and see how it works before we move ahead. So we are going to use our example of last week. We had some example this week, I think, only that we did not enter some records. So what we're going to do is we first of all go there and we feed the records, and then we start from there. Then this is my MySQL. Okay, now it is there. Let us use, it was called Biashara, right? Yes, we had a database called Biashara. Trying to tell it that we use that. Then somewhere
maybe you shift to the screen.
Yes.
Maybe you shift to the other screen.
Okay. I forgot. This one. Let me hope it's okay now.
Yes,
is it okay?
Yes.
Yes. Then from here,
Yes, it's clear.
if I can recall, last week we edited one column. I think it was orders. We removed the relationship when we try to apply the delete and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this table called orders, and then I create it afresh, and then we put records in all of them. Then we have, under orders, we have the order ID, which was variant character of 10, not null, and the primary key. Then we had, the next one was, we had what? Customer ID, which was also varchar of 10, not null. We had the product ID, customers, products, right? The product ID, varchar of 10. Then we had other features. Which other columns did we have? We had the order date, which was date. Then we had the total price. Total price, I think we used flat. If I can recall, we said float of what? 5, 10 or 5 digits. So this is what we are going to do. The first thing we are going to do is, let me first of all drop this table called orders. Let me drop it. You can come to refresh. It's not there now. Then I can go back and create it. We said create table orders with the following columns. Let me copy this. It's going to disorganize us if we don't remove this. I need to copy this and paste them somewhere. I'll use them later. So create orders. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create order ID, which was a varying character of 10, primary key, not now. Then we looked at customer's ID. Customer ID, I think it's called customer ID. Let us check it. It's not customers. It's customer ID. I'll have customer ID, which was a varying character of 10. Not now. Then we have what? Product ID, varying character of 10, 9. Then we have the next is order date. We used date, not now. Then we have total price. We use small int. Was it float? I think it was float. Float. We can give it characters, maybe 5 and 5. No. Give it, I think it was 12 and 5. Comma. Now let us enforce the foreign keys. You said we type the keyword foreign key. Our foreign key here is 1. It is customer ID. We reference it to references to its mother table called customers, where it is called the customer ID. That was 1. Then I can just copy the whole of this. I don't want to go and type again. Then we say that the second was what? Product ID. We put the product ID. We reference it to the to a table called products, where it is a product ID. I think that is how it is. Then we can execute this. It will display this error, you know. Because of the float that we use, it is trying to alert us that in future we may not use that float. That's why if you go and see the description, let us see the description of the orders table that we have created. You will see that it will display for you what? It will display for you this one. I think we are good to go. We are good to go. Then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to insert records under customers. I don't know how many customers, whatever records we have there. We have, those things are many. We have products. I think the other day we deleted products, right? Did we delete something from products? The data inside products, I think we deleted it. Computers. Let us first of all run this so that we forget about products. Once we run it, insert into products, product ID, product name, quantity, and unit price. Product ID, product name, quantity, unit price. P001 computers, 50 this. P00 tablet, 50 this. Why is it not coming? Did you do anything wrong? P002. What's wrong with P002? Then we try to run again. Duplicate entry for P002, which means let us go and see what is inside that table called products. Select all from products. What's the problem? P200 exists. Let us just truncate table. Truncate table products. When we run, what happens? It has that differential thing. So what we can do is just see what is inside here. We have 2, we have 3, we have 4 and 5. So I want to insert only 1. So we can decide to only insert 1 record. And then, so, and see what happens. Yeah, just go successfully. Even if you come here, you should be able to see that we have already 5 records. Now, for customers, we are done with the product. Then for customers, we have many columns that we are going to deal with. If I'm not mistaken, we have a lot of things there. So we have 1, you can see the columns here. Just click this and expand columns. You can be able to see them here. We have the customer ID. Let's first of all call it customers. We have customer ID. The first name. The last name. The sex. The date of birth. Phone number. Country. Email address. Comma, and the last one is nationality. Nationality. Then, what we are going to do is, you people may not be seeing what I'm doing, but I'm still organizing it. We shall have C001. And assume that the first name is Asiko. Do we have Asiko online? Yes?
Doctor, I'm on.
Okay, we are just assuming your age, eh? Don't be worried. Your age is that. Your telephone number, since the telephone number were 2 varying character, can assume that is 00736 this. Then country, can put Uganda. Then the email address, I can just assume that, you have an email address called Asiko Dennis at hotmail.com. And then your nationality is Ugandan. Let me see. This is Asiko male, date of birth phone number, country, this. So I'm just going to show you one, whatever. What I was trying to do is I was trying to type the whole of this. Is it clear? I was trying to type the whole of this for the column of, because yesterday we added many columns. So we are trying to, I was trying to enter all this. So we have entered one record for Asiku. We call him C001 is his customer ID. Asiku Dennis Mel was born that year. The phone number, Ugandan, the phone number is the country is Uganda. The phone number is, the email address is there, and then the country. Let us enter this and see what happens. What is not happening? Unknown column under quantity. We don't have anything called quantity there. The email address. We had only put few characters, 20. But Asiku then is this. Okay. Can edit that, but let us just put something like this. And then we run. Yes. At least one record has gone successfully. At least we have Asiku's detail, which has gone successfully. Now, what we are going to do is, since one record has gone successfully, we are just going to edit this. Let us copy the whole of this. Let me minimize it. Then I can paste 1, 2, and then 3. Then the second person, this one we call it 2. This one we call it 3. We call it 4. Then we call it 5. Then we can call this Habibu. Habib Hassan is a male, was born that year, maybe this time.
Doctor, you've actually deleted Asiku.
No, I have inserted him. There's no need for me to keep him there. He's already in the database. Don't you see him in the table?
Oh, yes. I get it now.
Yeah. Then this, maybe we assume that he's a Congolese. Then the name is Hassan H at Gmail. He's also he's from Congo. The country is Congo, but the nationality is Congolese. Who else? Do we have the other lady in this class? Is Akuma in this class?
No.
Okay.
She's not on.
Okay, what is your name?
She's Adebo Thomas.
Eh?
Adebo
Adebo who?
Thomas.
Then we assume you're a male. Maybe you're born in that year. The month maybe 03. Your phone number, we assume that it is 06. You are, let me put you as what? Kenyan. You're from Kenya. Then you're called Adebo T. Then you're Kenyan. Then, who else? Mention your name. Please.
Aziku. Aziku Samuel. Aziku.
Aziku
Samuel.
Samuel. Let me put you female, not in reality.
It's okay for now.
Acting female.
I'm acting for Akuma.
We assume that you're from Tanzania. Then I can decide to put you somewhere. Samuel at that. Then you're called you're Tanzanian. Tanzania. Then who else? Hey, mention any name.
Amazo Laban.
Who? Laban who?
Amazo.
Amazon. Laban. Assume you're male, you're born in 7, maybe from 11. Your phone number is 64. I put you from Rwanda. Then I assume that you're Laban. They call it you're Rwandan. These days they say don't say Rwandese. I don't know why. Then we can insert these records. Let us try. Successfully? Yes.
Yes.
4 records have gone. When we come here and select all from what? Customers. You have all the records being inserted. Is it clear now? Now we are
Yes.
remaining with one. That is, let me delete the whole of this. We have orders now. Under orders, we have 5 things. Then we have order ID. Order ID, customer ID, product ID. We have orders. We have order ID, customer ID. We have product ID. Then we have what? We have the date, order date. Then finally we have total price. Then we can decide to assume that we have order. Let us start with D001. It was made by 004 and made a product for P002. The date was 2023. Made it, let us assume last month. And then this one we can remove it. And the total amount was maybe $500, $500,000. So let us first of all enter this. Inserting. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to insert records for this. Insert into orders where you have the fields, order ID, customer ID, product ID, order date, total price. The values are D001 is the order ID. The order was made by a customer with the customer ID C004, made transaction for a product called P007, and then made the date. I think this email is not supposed to be there. The date was that, and that was the amount. Let us run this successfully. So what I'm going to do is, I need also at least for each 5 records. We already have 1 there, 2, 3, 4. Then I can try to put P002, P005, P004, P003. Maybe this transaction made by D005. This one was by 2, by 1, by 3, and maybe even by 1 again. Then they made product, they made what?
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes.
There's error on the first customer or the first product.
What is the error?
D005 is 2 times.
It doesn't matter. I get it. You see, when you are registering a customer, that is where the IDs have to be unique. But when you are using them for referencing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't implement that whatever. Is it clear? Which means
So
that what unique in this table is the order ID, the order IDs. But all the orders can be made by one customer. Is it clear? One customer can decide to make all those orders. But here I wanted at least different customers to be the one making those orders.
Still,
yes.
Let me know which one is the order. I thought the first value is the order ID.
Yes. The order ID D00. Hey, you are right. You are right. This is supposed to be, let us put it D002. We can just play with this. We shall decide to enter just any date. Yeah. 6. 1. Maybe 22. Then let us just change the prices here. And say to put that. And say to put that. And say to put 360. 2010, 120, something like that. Is it clear? The most important thing here is the order IDs must be unique. We already have order 1, order D001. That's why I've decided to edit this. So when we run this command and we see what happens, it's successfully, so that when we go back and we select all from orders, we should be able to see all the orders we have. You'll find that they are already here. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, in what we covered today, we basically looked at using the select command. We say that by select command, I can decide to select, or I can decide to say that I want to select particular what? Columns from a particular table. For example, I can decide to say select for me only the customer ID, the first name, and their nationality from the table called customers. So that when I run this command, it will only go to the table called customers and pick for me the column called customer ID, the column called customer first name, and the nationality. So when I run this command, you'll see that it will only display for me all the customer IDs, all their first names, and the nationalities where they belong. Is it clear now?
Yes, doctor.
Now, we can also decide to say that we want to select only the customer ID, the first name, and nationality from customers where we only want what? Their gender or their sex. But this time we're using the term sex. We want their sex to be, we want only to retrieve the records of all the male customers. That is where you can now use the where clause to say that where the sex is equals to male. Assuming that we want only the male ones. You can use that. When you run this command, you'll see that it will only pick for you these ones. But let us add the column, let us add that column called sex so that you can be able to see them. When you run this, you'll see that customer C1, C001, C002, C003, and C005 are all men. Have you seen it? So that what about if you want female, you can only come here and say that we need this time only the female ones. We know that here out of 5, since 4 are men, which means C004 is a female. So when you run this, you see that it will only pick for you the record of that particular customer who is female. Is it clear? Members, is it clear?
Yes, doctor.
It's clear.
Yeah. Then we can also decide to say that we want to select all the columns there. Instead of only selecting these columns, we can use the asterisk or the multiplication to say that select for me all the columns from the table called customers, but you filter it using the sex. You'll find that when you run this, you'll find that it will display the customer ID, the first name, the last name, the gender, date of birth, phone number, country, email address, and that. Or we can decide to say that, we need only select for us all the customers where their first name where their first name is equal to Aziku. Is it Aziku or Asiku? Aziku. I think there was Aziku. When you run this, you'll see that it will go there and look for a customer whose first name is Aziku and display the records. Is it clear now? That is using the select all and then select for specific columns together with the where clause. What about order by? How do you use order by? We can say select for us all the columns from the table column customers, then we order by their gender. We say order by sex. So that when we run this command, you'll see that it will first of all display for you this customer. Between F and M, which one comes first? The first letter F. That's why it picks the female first, then after that it's decided to display for you all the men. Or you can say that we want to order by multiple columns. For example, we want to order by sex, followed by their first name. Sex, and then maybe last name. Last name. Then when we run this, you'll see that it brings for us the same, but you'll find that their last names, D comes before H, then H comes before L, L comes before T. That's why it has decided to break it like this in ascending order. Is it clear? Members, is it clear?
Doctor, it
Yes,
is.
doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Yes,
It's
please.
clear.
Then
It's okay.
the next thing we are going to look at is if maybe you want to order it now in the ascending order. Once we put the desk, which means this way it is ordering in ascending order. What about in the ascending order? You'll see that this time this one comes first. Since T is after L, T will come. L is after H, L will come. H is after then this one comes. It will reverse it the other way. Now the next thing we're going to look at is using the group by. Using the group by. Can we update the nationality of at least 2 people? We say update table customers set nationality. Let me hope I'm typing the right command. Equals to Uganda, where the customer ID equals to which means this one not there. Update customer set nationality Uganda where the customer ID is this. Once we update this, you see that it has updated successfully. Then let us first of all select all from customers. I want to see whether it has updated it. Yes, we have Uganda here, you have Uganda here. Now let us also update this one. That is the Habib C002. We update C002. That is Habib. We make you a Kenyan. Then once we run it, it is successfully. If you go there, you see that automatically Habib has been changed to Kenyan. Now, we want to now make good use of group by. We want to see whether you can group people according to a particular category. Now, for example, we can decide to say, we type a simple SQL statement to group people by their nationality. For example, we said select all the columns from table called customers, then group by nationality. When you run this, you'll see that it will pick for you this, and it will only retrieve for you only those customers with a particular that belong to a particular one. Now, for us to group, let us first of all, what we want to see is, let us not select all the columns. Let us select the name of the country and the number of times the country is. We can say select, let us select nationality, and then let it count for us how many people belong to a particular nationality, and we rename that column as maybe number of times, from table call customers, and then group by nationality, so that when we run this and we see what it will display. When we run this, you'll see that what it has decided to do is, it has decided to count for us how many Ugandans are there, how many Kenyans are there, and then how many Rwandese are there. Now, assuming that we have decided to go back, maybe update. We want to update customers, then set nationality equals to Ugandan, where the customer ID is equals to, there. Let us look at one customer that we want to update the results. Maybe select all from customers. Let me see what is inside there. We want to see, we want to make someone a Ugandan. Let us make this Rwandese man C005. I want to make C005. Want to update his records and then see whether it is updated. You'll find that you will now have 3 commands. So we say that this one, what happens here is, it will count for you. When you run this command, what happens here is, it will count for you how many people are there in each country. You can see now here that we now have 3 Ugandans, 2 Kenyans, and no Rwandese. Is it clear? Now, what if we want only to retrieve those nationalities which are more than 2? That is when we can use the having. Is it clear? We can say select nationality, count as number of times from customers, group by nationality, then having. We can now put our having here. Having this count greater than 2. So we're saying that let it select for us all the nationalities and count how many people, customers, are in each group, in each nationality, and then group it under a column called number of times. And then it will group them by nationality. Then from there, it will only display those customers that belong to a nationality. Oh, let it display only those nationalities with the customers more than 2. So that when we run this, you'll see that it will only display for us Ugandans, because there we have how many? 3 Ugandans and then 2 Kenyans. It will eliminate the Kenyan. What about if we decide to put, let it be greater than 3? How many will it display? It will display nil, because we don't have a nationality with more than 3 customers. Are we okay up to that level?
Yes, doctor.
Is there anyone who has any problem?
Yes, doctor.
Yes?
I'm okay with the other steps, but I don't know if you have handled the update, but I wanted to ask, for example, if where we are updating, let's say one person details, can we update like for multiple people at this or using the same, let me say in the same line?
You said you can update for everyone. You cannot update. I think this question was asked last week. I mean, the last time we met.
This week.
Yes? Someone asked this question the last time we met here. I said that you can update all the records, or you can decide to do one at a time. There may be another method, but I've not seen that.
Okay.
You can go online and see how you can do it.
Thank you.
Handling the practical bit of it. Then let us go back to theory. We still have things to carry the theory. After the theory, we are going to look at distinct. Distinct is where you want to select, assuming that there are different things. Like that they have nationality. Can you mute that person? You'll see that there are some nationalities where you find there are 3 Rwandese, I mean 3 Ugandans and 2 Kenyans. So you can decide to write any SQL statement that will only select for you distinct countries, because from there we only have 2 distinct countries. Is it clear? So you can decide to write the SQL statement by using the distinct keywords to go and pick for you the nationality for those people. So you can decide to say that select the SQL selects distinct statement retrieves distinct values from the database. The syntax of the SQL distinct statement is you put the keyword select distinct, the columns from the table name. Then you can see here like select distinct country from customers. For our case, we can decide to say that select distinct nationality from the other place. Or we can decide to say that we want to go back and we update one of you, your first name, so that 2 people should have the same first name and see what will happen. Is it clear? We can see that one when it comes to the exam. So that is the simplest example where you can use distinct. For example, here it says select distinct country from customers. But here we have 5 customers. 2 are from USA, 2 are from UK, and 1 from UAE. But the distinct countries here is USA, UK, and UAE. That's why it will only display for you the distinct countries, which are 3. Then we have distinct for multiple. Like you can decide to say that you want the first name to be distinct, the last name to be distinct, and the country should be distinct. It can also retrieve for you that. That's why you will see that they have put here, select distinct the country and the first name from customers, which means that there may be 2 customers coming from the same country. From there, first of all, it will remove the other one. But the second condition is their first name also be distinct. Then it will only pick those ones whose countries are distinct and whose first names are also distinct from the table. You can see from here, select distinct country, first name from customers. You'll find that the countries we have here are USA. You have 2 USAs, 2 UKs, and 1 UAE. But yes, first of all, the first thing it does is it will select for you those countries which are distinct. We have USA, UK, UAE. But the second condition is their first names must be also distinct. That's why you'll find that it has decided to put for you John. John belongs to USA. Robert belongs to USA. The difference here is the name Robert is distinct from the name John. That's why it has decided to put USA twice. Then for UK, we only have David also belongs to UK and John belongs to UK. Yes, they belong to UK, but their first names are distinct. And then we have Betty from UAE. It will filter by the first column, then it will go to the second one. If it realizes the second ones are in the first, then it repeats it. That's why you'll find it will display for you something like this. Now someone will ask you, how comes that we have John twice? Because the first John belongs to USA and the second John is from UK. Then we can also have distinct with the count. If we need to count the number of unique rows, we can use the count function with distinct. Assuming that we want to count the distinct countries, you can do that. That's why you have select distinct country. I get it. You can say good select, then let it count for us those distinct country from the table name, which is customers. So the first thing it will do is it will select for you those distinct countries, and then it will count how many they are. That's why you'll find here. You'll find that select distinct country. Our distinct countries here are the countries are USA, UK, and UAE. There are 3. That's why it is able to bring for you only 3 distinct countries. Then we have what we call aliases. We use aliases like if we want to rename particular column. For example, we used it when we were dealing with the count. We said count in the brackets as, then we gave a name. That word as there is, we use it when you are dealing with aliases. So we are going to see a simple example, practical example, where you can use what? Where we use, first of all, what? Distinct. Count distinct. Then we shall also, let me cover what? Let me cover aliases so that we see the example of aliases also. For example, we have in our table customer, we have what? Customer ID, customer first name, and customer last name. What about if you want to combine the first name and last name to be as a name? Is it clear? So you are going to use a function called concatenation. You know it in Python or in any programming language. You use it to combine 2 or 3 things. So we can decide to use the function called concat to concatenate the 2 what? To combine the 2 names to make it as one. We can decide to say select concat first name, comma, space, last name, we close S, then you give the title for that particular column from this table. So the simplest, the syntax for us for using the alias is you use select column, then S, the alias name, column 2, S, the alias, column 3, S, the alias from the table names. So here is the simplest example. Let me show you, we can have here. So let me show you. Good. Let me show you the practicals for that. We can come here. Let us share the screen for this one. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to see whether they are distinct countries from the table called customers. We want to see the customers with distinct nationalities. So what we can do is we shall just put a simple, type a simple what? Select statement, say select the nationality, select distinct nationality. We put the keyword distinct nationality from the table called customers. So we shall have only, we have what? 2 distinct countries, that is nationality, that is Ugandan and Kenyan. That is where you can use the distinct. What about if you want to use distinct and you want to count it? We can decide to say, select distinct nationality, comma, we want to count how many. No, assuming that we want to count only how many what? We want to count how many distinct nationalities are there. We can just put the keyword select distinct. We can just come here and say select what? We want to first of all count how many distinct nationalities are there. So what happens here is it will select for you the distinct nationalities and count from that particular table called customers, so that when you run this, you'll find that we have 2 distinct nationalities. You can decide to use alias to change this title of the column. Is it clear? That's why I say that you use what? The alias, the as statement. Instead of having such a thing, we can decide to put here, we say as, you just put the keyword distinct nationality. Nationalities. You can put something like that. So that when we run this, it will automatically change this title here to distinct nationalities are 2. Then, assuming that the next statement that we are going to learn is, you want to use the aliases. We know that from the table called select all from customers. We know that from the table customers, we can decide to combine some things here. Is it clear? We can decide to use aliases to combine, first of all, the first name and last name, we make it as a name. And then we can decide to rename the column sex as gender. Is it clear? So let us do that. We can decide to say, select. What do we want? We are going to use the concat function to concatenate what? 1, the first name, comma, we want space between them. Then the last name, we can rename it as name, comma, then we can also rename sex as gender from customers. What happens here is the concatenation function is going to combine first name and the last names of the customers as one name. Maybe customer's name. I can decide to put it as customer name. Then it will also get the sex, the keyword sex, the column called sex, and we also rename it as gender. Now let us run this and see what happens. Have you seen here? It has decided to combine for you ASCII Dennis. We did not create much space here. I can come inside and create space. I can create space and then run this. You'll see that it will combine ASCII Dennis as the name, the customer name, Habib Hassan customer name, Adeva Thomas Aziku S customer name. Now the heading also sex has been changed from sex to what? To gender. That is one way of using what? Of using the aliases. Now, we can also use aliases in another way. We all know that we have decided to what? Create a relationship between the 3 tables. The customer ID, which is a primary key in a customer table, is a foreign key under orders. The same thing also happens with the product ID, which is a primary key in the product table. It is also used in orders as a foreign key. So we can decide to write a simple SQL statement to pick what? To pick data from the 2 tables and combine it as one particular table. For example, we can decide to say that from here, we want to pick under customers. Let me just start with 2 tables, and then after that, we can go to 3 tables. Then we can say that we want to know the customer who made the order. So we're going to pick the customer ID from the customer table, the customer first name, the last name of that customer. Then we shall also go ahead and look at the order that the customer made by identifying the order ID. And then under order table, which other thing can we pick? And then order ID, you can say we want to pick this order ID, the date when the customer made the order. That is the order date, right? Order date. Now, you'll realize that customers' first name and last name are from the table called customers. Then the order ID, the order date are from another table called orders. Now, for you to link these different columns from the two tables, we are going to use aliases. So what we are going to do is we can decide to say that let us use C to represent customers. And then let us use O to represent what? Orders. So we can go back and write a simple SQL statement like this. Let me stop it and maybe open something, a new thing in. Let me open this new one from the Zoom. Yes. So we can decide to say that since we have decided that we want to pick 3 columns from the customers table, that is the customer ID, the first name, and then the last name. We want to pick all these 3 to come from the table called customers. And then we also want to pick the order date, order ID, and the order date from the table called what? Orders. So what we are going to do is, let me pick whether insert, we have it there. The shape. What I want to do is I want to group. Okay. All these 3 will come from customers and these ones will come from the orders. So what we are going to do is we are going to tell MySQL that we are going to put it like, when we put C, let this C stands for customers. Is it clear? Or we can decide to say, we can decide to inform the MySQL that we are going to put the name of what? Of that table to reflect that we are getting this column from this particular table. But since we are learning aliases, let us use the alias statement. So we can decide to say, select C.customer ID, comma, C. the first name, comma, C. last name, comma, which means that we're trying to tell MySQL that let this C represent the table called customers, and then let O order ID. We're trying to tell MySQL that O means that the order ID comes from the table called orders, comma, then O that order date from 1. We're trying to tell MySQL that we're going to pick customer, C.customer ID, C.customer first name, C.customer last name from the table called customer, where we are going to use alias C. Is it clear? Comma, then we're going to have, is it orders? Orders as O, where, that is where now the relationship becomes important, where the C.customer ID, which means that the customer ID which is in the customer table should be the same customer ID which is in the orders table. And then you end. Is the statement straightforward? Yes, members? Hello?
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
Just wondering at what point
Yes.
the query will interpret the C to refer to customer and O to order.
Okay. Is there anyone who still has some challenges in understanding this statement? Yes?
I think so far it is still good, doctor.
Okay. So that when you run, we can say to copy this command. Then we come, let me stop it from, did I even stop it? Let me come here and run my SQL. When we share this and we run that code here, I'm trying even to break it into multiple lines, doesn't matter. We are saying that we are selecting customer ID, first name and last name from the table called customer, which is abbreviated by C. And then we are selecting order ID, order date from the table called orders, which is abbreviated by O, from the tables called customer SC, order SO, where the customer ID, which in the customer table, should be the same customer ID, which has been put in the order table. So when we run this statement, I think there's a problem.
Doctor, you check the spelling of the word first.
I think the table is called customers. Is it clear?
And also, doctor, the first name, the spelling for the word first.
First, the spelling first, like that, right? Customer ID,
yes,
first,
doctor.
Last name. So when we run this SQL statement, you will see that it will pick, it is able to pick for us records from the two different tables. That's why you'll find that customer with ID 4, Aziku, Samuel, ordered product 1, ordered product 2 in those dates. Then Asiku then is also ordered product 3 and product 4 in those dates. Then customer 002 Habib has an ordered product 5. That's how you can use the alias to combine two different columns from two different tables. What about if you want to add up to 3? It's possible. Can you do it? Can you do for 3? Who is that one laughing?
Doctor, we first try.
Okay. Let us do it together. Then you can during your free time, if you have one, then you can do it. So we have decided to say this. We have this statement which is running. Now, under product, we are going to pick the product name. We want to pick the product name, only the product name. Is it clear? So we are going to just add that.
Your microphone is off.
Okay. It's okay. Is it clear now? Hello?
Yeah. It's clear.
Yes, we can pick you now.
Then let us put the quantity. Let us also put quantity there. Let us have two things under product. Then we have quantity, comma. So what we are trying to say here is, let me make it left, align to left. We are trying to select the first name, the last name, the customer ID, first name and last name from table called customers. Then we are also selecting the order ID from the table orders, product name, the product quantity from the table product, the order date from the table called orders, from customers, where C stands for table called customers, O stands for table called orders, then we can decide to say products as P. Is it clear? Where the customer ID in the customer table should be the same as the customer ID you put under the order table. Then you use the keyword and the product ID. The product ID that is in the product table should be the same product table. I mean the product ID you have used under the order table. Just like that. That is all. Then you run this command and see whether it will not work. Let me make these keywords bold. These ones. Make these ones bold and not bold. Let me in fact even change them to uppercase. Yes, something like that. So that when we copy this, let me stop it. Then I come here, I run it in MySQL. When I run it in MySQL, yeah, this thing is too big. Break it to several. Good. I think that way it's okay. Is the statement very clear now? We're trying to select customer ID, first name and last name from the table called customers, which is abbreviated by C. Then we are selecting product name and quantity from the table called products, which is abbreviated by P. Then we are selecting order ID and the order date from the order tables, which is abbreviated by O. Where the customer ID, that is a primary key in the customer table, should be the same as the customer ID, which is a foreign key under the order table. And the product ID, which is a primary key in the product table, should be the same product ID, which is a foreign key in the product table. Then from here, once you have this, you can decide to run this SQL statement and see what happens. You see that it will display for you the customer ID, the first name, the last name, the order IDs, the product names that have been ordered. We have the tablet twice. Okay, it is ordered by different customers. I think that's why it is twice. And then the quantity. Then you have something like that. So that is how you can combine from two different tables using the alias S. Is this one clear?
Yes, doctor.
Are there some people who are still facing difficulties? Yes, are there some people who are still facing difficulties?
Doctor, how come Aziku Samuel is repeated twice?
Aziku twice.
Yes, doctor.
Aziku made two orders. The first order was.
Oh.
You see this?
Okay.
He made the order and he also made the order 2002.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, doctor.
Is there any question before we move ahead? Or you people are tired? Is that enough for the day?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, we stop here. Is it clear? But you have to revise the work.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, I'm only seeing a few people. Some of you are not there. The Wamusis, I'm not seeing the Wamusis, yes?
Maybe they are busy.
Wamusis around?
Wamusis around, we are 12.
I'm not seeing Juruga. You people are 20-something, by the way, in that class. Torome, I'm not seeing Juruga, I'm not seeing, there are many people that I'm not
like 38.
38 for that course.
So far, 21 are around, I think.
Yeah, you better advise your friends because Monitex does things serious. It may not be me, but the university has its policies that has to be followed. You tell them to keep attending classes. Okay, see you guys next time.
Okay.
See you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
You too.